All right, our top focus on World DNA this morning. US President Donald Trump has warned Moscow and Kiev that Washington would take a pass on truce talks if there is no rapid progress from both parties to achieve a ceasefire deal. Trump's comments came hours after State Secretary Marco Rubio cautioned that the US could move on from its role as a mediator.
If for some reason one of the two parties makes it very difficult, we're just going to say you're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people, and we're going to just take a pass. But hopefully we won't have to do that. And Marco is right in saying we want to see it end. Think of it. Every day, a lot of people are being killed as we talk about, as they play games.
Now, the US president also cautioned that the decision to abandon talks could come very shortly. Trump said that negotiations are coming to a head, while adding that neither Russia nor Ukraine is playing along for his efforts to end this war.
Nobody's playing anybody. We are going to see if we can get it done. I think we have a really good chance of getting it done, and it's coming to a head right now.
Meanwhile, US State Secretary Marco Rubio said that Washington will have to figure out whether a ceasefire is doable in the short run after his meeting with European allies in France. Now, following this, Ukrainians in Kiev lambasted Rubio's comments, saying that the United States is not the only country in the world, while pinning their hopes on other allies to extend support. They also added that Rubio's statements are his own personal opinions. Further, Ukrainians said that a ceasefire is possible only if Russia is weakened. Listen to this.
The United States is not the only country in the world, and that is why, if they decide to review their assistance to our country, other allies would, I hope, increase their support. Therefore, whatever Marco Rubio says about peace agreements and conditions of reaching them, it is only his personal opinion.
Now, on the other hand, US Vice President J.D. Vance expressed optimism about ending the war between Russia and Ukraine during his meeting with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni in Rome.
We have a couple of important issues to discuss today. I want to update the Prime Minister on some of the negotiations between Russia, Ukraine, and also some of the things that have happened. Even in the past 24 hours, we think we have some interesting things to report on, of course, in private. So these negotiations, I won't prejudge them, but we do feel optimistic that we can hopefully bring this war, this very brutal war, to a close.
However, Russia's envoy to the United Nations said that a ceasefire between Moscow and Kiev looks unrealistic. He also condemned Ukraine of violating the moratorium of striking Russia's energy infrastructure. Furthermore, China has rubbished Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's accusations that Beijing has been aiding Moscow by supplying deadly weapons. The Chinese Foreign Ministry called these allegations groundless, adding that it opposes political manipulation. In other developments, a Russian court sentenced a 19-year-old female activist to prison for condemning the war between Moscow and Kiev. The activist Daria Kozyreva was found guilty of discrediting the Russian army after she put up a poster with lines of a Ukrainian verse in a public space. According to reports, Kozyreva has called these accusations one big fabrication while pleading not guilty. The 19-year-old has been handed a prison sentence of 2 years and 8 months. On the battlefront, Russia continued its aggression in Ukraine. In the latest, at least one person has been killed and 112 others have been injured following a Russian airstrike on Ukraine's second-largest city, Kharkiv. Meanwhile, residents in Sumy continue to stay defiant despite Russia launching one of its deadliest assaults in the past week. Locals say they are determined to carry on their normal lives as usual amidst fears of a Russian offensive along the border region.
Sumy is my hometown, and I really wouldn't want there to be such ruins here, for people to die. You just continue to work, so this city goes on, despite war, despite the explosions, despite the attacks by Russia.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.